Hello, dear children. Today, let us do the second part of your history, chapter number 6. The name of the chapter is Towns, Traders, and Craftspersons. Boys, in the discussion of our previous day's class, we have done up to page number 81. Let us see the last sentence in which we find some aspects of cloth making like cotton, cleaning, spinning, and dyeing became specialized and independent crafts. We have done up to here in our previous day's discussion. Now, let us continue the remaining part of this chapter. Have a look, page number 82. A closer look. Hampi, Masulipatanam, and Surat. So these are the name of different places. Now let us know about these places. The architectural splendor of Hampi. Architectural splendor means magnificent of Hampi Place. Hampi is located in the Krishna Tungabhadra basin, which formed the nucleus of the Vijayanagara Empire, founded in 1336. Hampi it is located, boys, in the Krishna Tungabhadra river basin, and it was formed the center of the Vijayanagara Empire, which was founded in the year 1336. The magnificent ruins at Hampi reveal a well-fortified city. So this magnificent ruins means reduced to the state of decay at Hampi. It reveals a well-fortified city. Well-fortified city means having been made defensible city. Okay. No mortar or cementing agent was used in the construction of these walls, and the technique followed was to wedge them together by interlocking. So, in order to make that, no mortar or fixed with cement agent was used in the construction of these walls, and that technique is followed to wedge. Wedge means a piece of wood or metal, etc., having one thick and tapering to a thin edge. Okay, so it was made in such a way together by interlocking. Interlocking means having parts that overlap or fit together. Okay, so a fortified city. You get through this one. Okay, boys, this fortified city. The architecture of Hampi was distinctive. The architecture means was designing and constructing building of Hampi. It was distinctive. Okay, so it was quite different here. The buildings in the royal complex had splendid arcs, domes, and pillared halls with niches for holding sculptures. So the buildings in that royal complex where the ruler was living, it had splendid means excellent arcs, domes means a rounded bold building, okay, forming the roof. That means rounded bolt forming the roof of a building, which is design and constructing building, okay, in that way. So, and pillared halls with niches for holding pleasure gardens with sculptures motifs such as the lotus and corals. So here pillared halls with niches. Niches means comfortable for holding sculptures. They also had well-planned orchards and pleasure gardens. They are having these well-planned, say, some orchards, some fruits trees, and pleasure gardens with sculptural motifs. Motifs means decorative, such as the lotus and corals. Corals means a projection jutting out from wall to support structures above it. In its heyday in the 15th, 16th centuries, Hampi bustled with commercial and cultural activities. So, in its heyday means the period of a person's or things greatest success or popularity. Here in the 15th and 16th centuries, Hampi bustled means move in the energetic and busy manner with commercial for Muslim merchants, with commercial and cultural activities. Moors means a name used collectively for Muslim merchants, then chettis and agents of European traders such as Portuguese thronged the markets of Hampi. Here, see Moors, chettis, and European traders, business persons such as the Portuguese throng means fill or be present there in the markets of Hampi. Temples were the hub of cultural activities and Devdasis performed very before the deity, royalty and masses in the many pillared halls in the Virupaksha temple. So temples were they were the hub. Hub means center of cultural activities, and Devdasis means temple dancers performed very before the deity. So deity means god or goddesses. They were dancers. They performed in front of this god or goddesses. Royalty and masses. Masses means a large body of mm, people, common people like that. Okay. So in the many pillared halls in the Virupaksha, Virupaksha means a form of Shiva temple. Okay. The Mahanavami festival known today as Navaratri in the south was one of the most important festivals celebrated at Hampi. So Mahanavami was which is known as today as Navaratri in the south. Navaratri it used to observe during Durga Puja's time. Okay, 9 days that is called Navaratri. So celebration it was done there. It was one of the most important festival which is celebrated at Hampi. Archaeologist means a person who studies human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites. So archaeologists have found the Mahanamami platform where the king received guests and accepted tribute from subordinate chiefs. So here archaeologists have found the Mahanamami platform, okay, that a raised level surface which used to made there. At that time, the king used to receive guests and accepted tribute from subordinate, okay, tribute from lower classes, chiefs. From here, he also watched dance and music performances as well as wrestling bouts. So from that platform, he she also watched dance and music programs as well as wrestling bouts, as well as that means contest of fight there. Hampi fell into ruin following the defeat of Vijayanagara in 1565 by the Deccani Sultans, the rulers of Golconda. So Hampi it fell into the physical destruction, boys, following the defeat means which was beat of Vijayanagara in 1565 by a Deccani Sultan. The Sultan was ruling there, that means in the Deccan area. The rulers of Golconda, he was the ruler of Golconda, Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Virar, and Bidar. He was the ruler of these places. A gateway to the west, that is Surat. Surat in Gujarat was the emporium of western trade during the Mughal period along the Kambe and somewhat later. So boys, Surat is there in Gujarat. It was the emporium. Emporium is a large relating store selling, okay, a wide variety of goods, that is called emporium. So it was emporium of western trade during the Mughal period, as Mughal were ruling at that time, okay, along with Kambe, present day Khambat. Kambe means present day Khambat was known as Kembe at the time, okay, and somewhat later Ahmedabad. Surat was the gateway for trade with West Asia via the Gulf of Ormuz. Surat, it was the gateway for business, okay, for trade with West Asia via the Gulf of Ormuz. Surat has also been called the gate to Mecca because many pilgrim ships set sail from here. So Surat, it has also been called the gate to Mecca. It is because of from that Surat was many pilgrim, okay, ships used to sail from here. Those people who are going for Mecca, okay, they started their journey from there. That's why Surat was called or Surat called the gateway of Mecca. The city was cosmopolitan and people of all castes and creeds lived there. The city of Surat, it was cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan means including people from different countries, okay? And people of all castes and creeds lived there. So from people from each and every caste and creeds, they are living there. In the 17th century, the Portuguese, Dutch and English had their factories and warehouses at Surat. So in the 17th century, this Portuguese, Dutch and English, they had their store houses there, okay, very big storehouses at Surat. According to the English chronicler Ovington, who wrote an account of the port in 1689, on average 100 ships of different countries could be found anchored at the port at any given time. So according to the English chronicler means a person who writes account of important or historical events, and this chronicler's name is Ovington. He wrote an account of the port in the year 1689. On average, 100 ships of different countries they could be found anchored at the port at any given time. So, at any given time, about 100 of ships are found there. Okay.
There were also several retail and wholesale shops selling cotton textiles. See, there are many retail and wholesale shops in which cotton textiles were selling. The textiles of Surat were famous for their gold lace borders and had a market in West Asia, Africa, and Europe. The textiles of Surat were famous for their gold lace. Gold lace means gold colored braid borders and had a market in West Asia, Africa, and Europe. And people of West Asia, Africa, and Europe, they know that one very well. And it had a good market there in West Asia, Africa, and Europe. The state built numerous rest houses to take care of the needs of people from all over the world who came to the city. The state of Gujarat built numerous rest houses in order to take care of the needs of people from different part of the world who came to the city. There were magnificent buildings and innumerable pleasure parks. So in that place there were many, say, beautiful buildings and countless pleasures. Here parks which is there. Okay. The Kathiawad Sets or Mahajans had huge banking houses at Surat. So the Kathiawad Sets or Mahajans means they are the money changers. They had big banking houses there at Surat. It is noteworthy that the Surat hundis were honored in the far-off markets of Cairo in Egypt. So here it is worth paying attention that the Surat hundis means financial instrument evolved on the Indian states constitute, okay, used in trade here, were honored in the far-off markets of Cairo in Egypt. These hundis were honored, respected even in the far-off markets of Cairo and Egypt. Basra in Iraq and Antwerp in Belgium. Apart from this Cairo and Egypt, it is known and honored there at Basra in Iraq and Antwerp in Belgium. However, Surat began to decline towards the end of the 17th century. However, this Surat it began to decrease towards the end of 17th century. This was because of many factors. See, as it was famous earlier, but from the end of 17th century, it declined. People's interest to visit here for purchasing that clothes, it decreases. Okay, the reason behind if some reasons are there, some factors are there. This was because of many factors: the loss of markets and productivity because of the decline of the Mughal Empire, control of the sea routes by the Portuguese, and competition from Bombay, where the English East India Company shifted its headquarters in 1668. So, one of the factors it has mentioned there, the loss of markets and productivity and the producing of goods because of the decline of the Mughal Empire. Okay, the fall down of Mughal Empire and control of the sea roads by Portuguese, and moreover than that, another factor is there, that is competition from Bombay, present day Mumbai. Bombay is known as Mumbai at present days, where the English East India Company shifted its headquarters in the year 1668. So, as this English East India Company also shifted its headquarters in the year 1668. So, this one is also another factor. Today, Surat is a bustling commercial center. Okay, at present, you see, today the Surat it become a full of activity in commercial center for business. Fishing in troubled waters. Troubled waters means beset by problems or difficulties, that is called troubled here. So, fishing in troubled waters. Masulipattnam. The town of Masulipattnam or Machilipatnam, literally fish port town, this one, okay, lay on the delta of the Krishna river. So, see boys, the town of this Masulipattnam or Machilipatnam, okay, it is there on the delta of the Krishna river. In the 17th century, it was a center of intense activity. So, here in the 17th century, this Machilipatnam or Masulipattnam was a center of extreme activity. Both the Dutch and English East India companies attempted to control Masulipattnam as it became the most important port on the Andhra coast. Okay, both these Dutch and the English East India companies, they tried to control this Machilipatnam. They want to capture that as it became the most important port on the Andhra coast, the coast of that Andhra. The fort at Masulipattnam was built by the Dutch. So there, the port or a fortified building at Masulipattnam, it was built by the Dutch. So a poor fisher town, just get through this one, boys, you read it. The Qutub Shahi rulers of Golconda imposed royal monopolies on the sale of textiles, spices, and other items to prevent the trade passing completely into the hands of the various East India companies. So, the Qutub Shahi rulers of Golconda, this Qutub Shahi, he was ruling there there in Golconda. He imposed means he forced on them that royal monopolies. Royal monopolies means exclusive possession on the sale of textiles, spices, and other items, and it was to prevent the trade passing completely into the hands of the various East India companies, in order to protect or prevent the trade which was passing completely into the hands of the various East India companies. Fires means having or displaying on intense or ferocious aggressiveness. Okay, fires, competition among various trading groups, the Golconda nobles, Persians, merchants, Telugu, Komati, Chettis, and European traders made the city populous and prosperous. So, this competition you have seen here among different trading groups, the Golconda nobles, the nobles of Golconda, then merchants of Persia, then Telugu, Komati, Chettis, and European traders made the city populous as well as prosperous also. They developed the city also. As the Mughals began to extend their power to Golconda, their representatives, the governor Mir Jumla, who was also a merchant, began to play of the Dutch and English against each other. See, as the Mughals, they started to extend their power there to Golconda. Their representatives, means the Mughals, here representative, the governor Mir Jumla, who was also a merchant, he started to play off the Dutch and the English against each other. He played trick here, of course. In 1686 to 1687, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb annexed Golconda. So in the year 1686 to 1687, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, he had as an extra or subordinate part of this Golconda. This caused the European companies to look for alternatives there, as it is done by Aurangzeb. So it led to that European companies to search another possibilities there. Okay, it was a part of the new policy of the English East India Company that it was not enough if a port had connections with the production centers of the hinterland. So it was a part of the new policy of that English East India Company, in which it was not enough if a port had connections with the production centers of the hinterland. Hinterland means the remote areas of a country away from the coast or the banks of major rivers. The new company trade centers, it was felt, should combine political, administrative, and commercial roles. As the company traders moved to Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras, Masulipatam lost both its merchants and prosperity and declined in the course of the 18th century, being today nothing more than a dilapidated little town. So as you see, these company traders, they began to go away from there, moved to, started to go there in Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras, and moreover Masulipatam. What happened there? As that means these traders have gone to Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. Masulipatam, it lost both its merchants as well as prosperity. Okay, being prosper and declined, it decreased in the course of 18th century, being today nothing more than a dilapidated little town, being as at present boys. Nothing is more there except in a state of ruin as a result of neglect. It remains like this only. New towns and traders. Let us see new towns and businessmen. In the 16th and 17th centuries, European countries were searching for spices and textiles, which had become popular both in Europe and West Asia. So, in the 16th and 17th centuries, these European countries, they were searching for spices and textiles, which had become popular both in Europe and West Asia. Here, that means these spices and textiles of India had become popular there. So they were searching, these European countries were searching here for these spices and textiles. Most successful commercial and political power in the subcontinent of India. The spurt in demand for goods like textiles led to a great expansion of the crafts of spinning, weaving, bleaching, dyeing, etc. The spurt means gush out in a sudden and forceful stream, that is called spurt. The spurt in demand, so demand it arises in such a way for goods like textiles, it led to a great expansion of the crafts and spinning, weaving, bleaching, dyeing, etc. due to the demand of the people. So it led to great expansion of these crafts of spinning, weaving, bleaching, dyeing, such thing. Okay. With more and more people taking them up, with that means more and more people, it was needed to work there, it was taking them up. Indian textile designs became increasingly refined. Here, Indian textiles designs became increasingly refined. Refined means having been refined means unwanted elements having been removed. However, this period also saw the decline of the independence of craftspersons. So, however, this period also it showed the fall down of the independence of craftspersons, independence of persons who makes beautiful objects by hands. They now began to work on a system of advances, which meant that they had to weave cloth which was already promised to European agents. See, yes, that means they face this decline by this craftsperson. So, as a helpless, they now started to work on a system of advances, which means that they had to weave cloth, they have to make cloth which was already promised to European agents. Weavers no longer had the liberty of selling their own cloth or weaving their own patterns. So, under such circumstances, what happened? Our weavers no longer they had the liberty, they have the state of being freeness of selling their own cloth or weaving their own patterns. According to their own choices, they can't do the work. They had to reproduce the designs supplied to them by the company agents, and then they have to work according to the direction of the company. Their own choice means our craftsperson's own choice cannot utilize here. The 18th century saw the rise of Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras, which are nodal cities today. So, in the 18th century, it saw the rise of Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras, in which are nodal cities today. Nodal cities means denoting a point in a network cities today. Okay. Crafts and commerce underwent major changes as merchants and artisans such as weavers were moved into the black towns established by the European companies within these new cities. So crafts and commerce underwent means it undergo major changes. It is because of merchants and artisans such as weavers were moved into the black towns were established by the European companies within these new cities. The blacks or native traders and craftspersons were confined here, while the white rulers occupied the superior residences of Fort St. George in Madras or Fort St. William in Calcutta. So the blacks or natives traders, the traders were living there, and craftspersons were confined here. On the other hand, the white rulers occupied the superior residences. So superior means that higher in rank residences of Fort St. George in Madras or Fort St. William in Calcutta. The story of crafts and commerce in the 18th century will be taken up next year. So boys, the story of crafts and commerce in the 18th century, it will be taken up in the next year. So here is the end of the chapter. Have a look, page number 88. This one was Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus. Very important persons, okay? So you just get through this and know about this Vasco da Gama and then Christopher Columbus, okay? So that's up to here for today. Thank you all.